Watch as President Trump sends direct warning to Iran as U.S. military decimates terrorist operations.
So we've made a lot of progress on two fronts, on both sections that we call them sections, but they're much more than that, Russia, Ukraine, and also the Middle East, and we'll see what happens. We're in deep discussions with Russia and Ukraine, and I would say it's going well, but it's a situation we should have never had to even think about, should have never happened. And on the Middle East, that's been going on for a lot of years, centuries and centuries. It just keeps going, and we are making a lot of progress. So that's all I can report. But some very, very big talks are going, and detailed talks are going on right now on both fronts.
Listen as President Trump explains the details of the historic Black Sea ceasefire agreement that will help restore peace and security to the region.
Mr. President, the ceasefire agreement that was brokered today allows for third-party countries to help implement the agreement. What does that look like, and who's going to be involved?
The ceasefire agreement?
Yes, the maritime ceasefire agreement between Russia and Ukraine.
Well, they're going to get together. Look, they agreed to something and it got broken. There's tremendous animosity. There's a lot of hatred, as you can probably tell. And it allows for people to get together, mediate it, arbitrate it, and see if we can get it stopped. And I think it will. It'll get stopped.
What countries are you looking to work with, sir, to help implement and monitor that ceasefire?
We have other countries involved, and they're involved very strongly in the process. And that'll be resolved. That's actually, as bad as it is, that's the least of the problems. So
watch President Trump sign what his team calls the farthest-reaching executive action taken in the history of the Republic to secure our elections.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order for your attention on the very important subject of election integrity. We believe that this executive order is the farthest-reaching executive action taken in the history of the Republic to secure our elections. Among numerous other aspects of this executive order, this is going to cut down on illegal immigrants on the voter rolls, ensure that the Department of Homeland Security and the data that they have available is being fully weaponized to ensure that illegal immigrants aren't voting. This will include a citizenship question on the federal voting form for the first time. This executive order instructs the EAC to cut federal funding to states that don't take reasonable steps to secure their election. This calls on the Department of Justice to vigorously prosecute election crimes, particularly in states that we don't believe are in compliance with federal law around election integrity. I could go on and on for a while, sir, but the compliance with national election day rules, cracking down and investigating and prosecuting foreign interference in our elections, revoking President Biden's Executive Order 14019, which essentially weaponized government to corrupt and pollute our election process. There's a lot in here, but we believe that these are very important steps that we need to be taking as an administration at your direction to ensure that our elections are as secure as they possibly can be.
Okay, you all understand that? Yes. Mm-hmm. Election fraud, you've heard the term. We'll end it, hopefully. At least this will go a long way toward ending it. There are other steps that we will be taking in the coming weeks, and we think we'll be able to end up getting fair elections. Perhaps some people think I shouldn't be complaining because we won in a landslide, but we got to straighten out our election. This country is so sick because of the election, the fake elections and the bad elections, and we're going to straighten it out one way or the other.
Here's President Trump revealing how his administration's foreign policy success is backed by unprecedented economic achievements at home.
Well, I know this, that for the first time in like 50 years, right track, wrong track, we were on the right track. And I think people see that. And if you look at prices are way down. You know, when I first came here, the first time I met with you people officially, they were screaming at me about eggs. I said, I've been here for a week and I'm being yelled at about eggs. Egg prices have come down 45–50% in the last week and a half, and our Secretary of Agriculture has done a great job. As you know, Brooke, she's done a fantastic job, and others working with her have done a great job. But we brought eggs down at a level that nobody thought we could get at. I inherited that situation, and I inherited a grocery situation. The groceries went way up, an old-fashioned word, but it's a very descriptive word. Groceries have gone through the roof. And I used to campaign on it. I used to say, we're going to get groceries down, and we have got it down. I watched a certain newscast over the weekend, and a congressman, Democrat congressman, said, well, Trump's done a lot, I agree. He's been great on the border, he's been great on the military, but he hasn't brought prices down. That's false. Gasoline's way down. Eggs are way down. Groceries are down, very substantially, but down. Almost everything's down. Now, I'd like to see interest rates come down a little bit, and you're going to see billions of dollars, even trillions of dollars coming into our country very soon in the form of tariffs, because we were abused by presidents that, frankly, in all fairness, it wasn't their expertise, but they had no idea what they were doing.
Mr. President, you say tariffs will create more jobs here in America.
Oh,
so
yeah, sure.
Which
So
states?
Agree. It'll create a lot of money and more jobs. But if you look, so in the last, these gentlemen would know about it, and ladies, because some of the ladies are great businessmen in this room that are becoming ambassadors. Great, really great, top of the line. When you look at the number of companies that have said, like, we're close to, I would say close to $4 trillion. We never had numbers like that. The number one chip maker in the world from Taiwan coming in with $200 billion. We have Apple. Look at Apple. $500 billion. $500 billion. They're going to build plants all over the United States. They were all being built in China. You have many, many companies, and maybe above all, you have the car companies coming in at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We have Honda is opening up one of the biggest plants in the world in Indiana, and many car companies are coming in.
Listen to President Trump's candid assessment of European allies who aren't paying their fair share while America shoulders the burden in Ukraine.
And J.D. Vance, the Vice President, said that the Europeans were freeloading. Do you agree with that assessment?
Do you really want me to answer that? Yeah, I think they've been freeloading. The European Union's been absolutely terrible to us on trade, terrible. And as you know, NATO, I got them to pay hundreds of billions of dollars. They were way behind. And if you look if you look at Ukraine, so we're in for $350 billion because of Biden. Should have never happened, this war. All these dead people should not be dead. All these broken cities that are demolished down to the ground, those gorgeous towers, the most beautiful in the world, the most beautiful spires in the world. The spires in Ukraine were said to be the most beautiful of all. Just about every one of them is lying on its side in a million pieces. It's so sad to see what's happened to a heritage. No, I think that when they say the European Union and you could say NATO also. Look, NATO, and I don't blame NATO for this. I don't blame Europe for this. I blame Biden for the fact that he didn't make them equalize. And to this day, I said to him, you got to catch up, you got to equalize. But why are they in for $100 billion and we're in for possibly $350 billion? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And you could say more important for them because we have an ocean in between.
Here, President Trump announced his plans to end sanctuary cities that shield criminals from justice and endanger American communities.
I think we're also going to be codifying a lot of the executive orders that we've done, which have been very popular. And we're looking at one, I will tell you right now, that I think perhaps will be controversial, but not with the people, and that's sanctuary cities. We're going to end sanctuary cities for some of these jurisdictions that aren't cooperating with law enforcement. They're guarding criminals. They're taking the rights away from the citizens of their state and their city. And we're going to be ending sanctuary cities if we find it necessary to do in certain major areas. And we may just end the entire thing altogether because it's just a way of protecting criminals. And nobody else is benefited by that. And for some reason, Democrats want to keep and they want to shield criminals from being sent back to their countries or being sent to prison.
Please like and subscribe if you like our news clips.